Well, good morning. This is Plant Smart Living with Farmer Fred. Really glad you could join me today. It's a beautiful day here in Pennsylvania, Zone 6. I have this small section on the end of my 4 by 32 foot raised bed here. It's about 2 feet wide, again 4 feet wide, 2 feet by 4 feet. And so what I'm going to do here today is plant Arugula, and the variety is Rocket. So before I get started talking about planting the seed, I just wanted to give you a little perspective on where I'm going to be planting these arugula seeds in relation to the other parts of the garden. So we're right here on the end of the bed, and so it's a nice little section. You know, we love our arugula, and it's a nice peppery flavor, and we like to put it in our salads. And so let's get started on planting these seeds. So I use here the composted leaf mulch amended with topsoil. It's about a 50-50 mix, and then I add the alfalfa pellets to the compost to give it some nitrogen, and you know the NPK on that is 322. And then I added these these alfalfa pellets a couple weeks ago, so they've already begun to break down into the soil. And so I like using my garden weasel here. It's a little rotary cultivator, and it really just creates a nice seed bed here for these little tiny seeds. And it also creates a little rows as you run this hoe back and forth in this one area. So, you know, behind these packs, they always give you some nice helpful planting information. Keeps things simple. You know, here at Plant Smart Living, we like to keep things as simple as possible. There's a lot of confusion out there, a lot of garden myths out there that really confuse a lot of people. And so, you know, I basically plant most of my vegetables in composted leaf mulch amended with topsoil, and then I add some alfalfa pellets for nitrogen, potassium, and phosphorus. And so, you know, like for instance behind here, it says planting depth is 1/4 inch, and then thin to about 6 inches, and harvest is 35 days. So it's a nice quick harvest. And then you sow in full sun in rich, well-drained soil in early spring or late summer. That way you can get 2 crops if you plant it early spring or late summer. It's for optimum flavor, grow in cool weather. Sow evenly and thinly, cover with 1/4 inch of fine soil, and firm lightly and keep evenly moist. Seedlings emerge in 7 to 14 days. And that's another important fact, is whenever you plant seedlings, whether you sow your seeds indoors or outdoors, you really want to make sure you keep your seeds moist. It's really important, otherwise if they dry out, they may not germinate. And I'm going to be covering this with a row cover to help hold the moisture in, and not only that, it'll keep the deer off of them and any kind of birds that may want to come in the soil and take the seeds out or disturb the soil. And so when I plant my other greens in the garden, I'm going to be putting my row covers over like my spinach and my kale and my Swiss chard. And so anyhow, what I'm going to do is open this pack and we'll start sowing these seeds. So what I did is I went and got some of the spun bonded polyester, the row cover, and some bricks, because when I'm done sowing these seeds here, then we can cover the seeds up and then water it. And so I just basically get the seed pack and form a V there, and then just tap as I go along here. And just let them drop in. It takes a little bit while for you to get the right speed and the right tap. And so I think I got it finally developed. And what I'm doing is I'm just planting 3 rows of 6 inches apart. And that should be plenty of arugula for my wife and I and my 3 daughters that I like to share the my vegetables with. There again, it just takes a few seconds to get the right level for these seeds to come out. But once you get it going, they drop in pretty nicely. And I just took my fingers and went down my soil and created 3 rows. And so it really made it nice and easy. Then I'm just gonna get my hand and cover it up. Push it right over. You could also mark each end of the row if you want. I'm not going to here because it's basically I know where the rows are going to be. And then just pat it down with your hand. You know, the soil in your garden, you should really be able to just dig in with your hands. That's how loose it should be. Because the looser the soil, the more the roots are going to spread. And then they're also going to absorb more nutrients. Now, I just did a video recently on how to make your own garden labels, and they really turned out nice. I did end up getting a laminator so I could print it out on my computer and then laminate it. And so I'm going to end up putting this one, label it Arugula, you know, and it's good to always put a date on when you plant your seeds so you'll know when you planted them and just keep track of them. And so I'm simply just going to lay a brick on each end here, stretch it across, and like I said earlier, it's going to hold in the moisture, keep all the bugs away, any animals out of here. My lettuce I planted a couple weeks ago is coming up really nice. And I'm just going to tuck that in under there. Now you may end up having to put some more weight on it. Depends on, you know, give it a couple of days. If it gets windy, you know, you may end up having to put some more rocks, or I put bricks, you know, whatever type of weight you have, it would be fine. And then you just want to make sure you water in your seedlings real well. Always want to make sure you keep your seedlings moist. If they dry out, they're not going to germinate. So watering them like this will help the soil settle some too. And so there you go, really simple to do. Would encourage you to try some of the arugula. It's got a nice peppery flavor. It's great in salads, and you know, we just love it here in our family. So anyhow, I just want to thank you for joining me today. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them in the section below. So until next time, this is Plant Smart Living with Farmer Fred.